The year is 1249 CE. The French king Louis IX is sailing the Nile, threatening to overthrow the Egyptian sultan and capture Egypt. Egypt's army commanders ask the sultan's wife, Shajar ad-Dur, to report this news to the sultan, who has been injured in battle. But they don't know the truth. The sultan is already dead, and Shajar ad-Dur is secretly ruling in his stead. Born around 1220 CE, Shajar ad-Dur, whose name means tree of pearls, was sold into slavery. This was a common fate for Christian children from Turkic countries like her. Enslaved boys, or mamalik, were trained to be elite military personnel serving the Egyptian sultanate, while enslaved girls were forced to become concubines. As a teenager, Shajar ad-Dur became a concubine to the son of the Egyptian sultan, As-Salih Ayyub. They had a son named Khalil who died in infancy, and As-Salih freed her so he could court her formally. As-Salih became sultan, and he and Shajar ad-Dur married. When As-Salih died in the middle of the conflict with the Crusaders, Shajar ad-Dur knew King Louis IX had already succeeded in conquering important Egyptian port cities. Fearing that her husband's death would threaten the army's morale, she decided to keep it a secret. To conceal his death, she had food brought to his tent and forged his signature on decrees to govern the Sultanate and advise military commanders. When the Crusaders attacked the Egyptian city of Al-Mansura, Egyptian soldiers ambushed the Crusaders and took the French king hostage. Meanwhile, the truth about the Sultan's death began to leak. Shajar ad-Dur invited her late husband's son with another woman to claim the title of Sultan. At first, both she and her Mamalik advisors supported her stepson's claim to the throne. But then, he began threatening to exile her and kill the Mamalik, making wild accusations about them. The Mamalik had served Shajar ad-Dur's husband before her and seen her capable rule so far. They thought she would make a better ruler than the unpredictable prince and conspired with her to assassinate him. In May of 1250, with the support of the Mamalik military, Shajar ad-Dur was inaugurated as Sultana of Egypt. Days later, she negotiated the ransom of the French king and his army in exchange for an enormous sum of money and the surrender of the occupied port city. In spite of her success leading Egypt through this military crisis, she had to work to cement her credibility in the eyes of the public. As a formerly enslaved person, her rise to power wasn't linked to royal ancestry, while as a woman, societal restrictions prevented her from participating in many of the events a sultan would typically attend. To increase her visibility and solidify her claim to the throne, she constructed a public mausoleum for her husband, issued the currency under her name, and signed decrees as Walidat Khalil, the mother of Khalil. Unfortunately, the Sultanate's premier religious authority, the Caliph of Baghdad, still objected to having a woman rule. Under threat of revolt, Shajar ad-Dur married on the condition that her new husband must divorce his first wife. Shajar ad-Dur intended to maintain her status as supreme ruler. Her new husband threatened to undermine her rule by arranging a political marriage between himself and a princess from Mosul, so Shajar ad-Dur ordered his assassination. The news reached his first wife, who successfully plotted to murder the Sultana. Shajar ad-Dur's killers threw her body from the Cairo citadel. Shajar ad-Dur left no personal writings, but her legacy was lasting. Before her death, she built her own mausoleum with a madrasa, garden, public shower, and palace, decorated with her signature tree of pearls to remind Egyptians who made it. Now that you know about the last queen to rule Egypt solo, learn about one of the first. Follow Hatshepsut's rise to power and find out why someone tried to erase all traces of her reign with this video.